grandmothers, those women enjoyed womanhood.
Okay, I would tell you to go back and watch that video for context, but I'm not, because that video really irritates my soul. So I don't know what grandmothers and great grandmothers he's talking about, but definitely not mine. Okay, let's start with my great grandmother. My great grandmother had 20 children, 14 girls, 6 boys. She had her first child at 14. Did not have a high school diploma, college education, anything. After her 20th child, her husband left. So because she didn't have a higher education, she had to take a low-paying, back-breaking job at the mill. And she worked at the mill from sun up to sundown. My grandma tells me stories of how a lot of days they didn't have food to eat, how the lights were off, how they didn't have clothes and they shared clothes between them, the girls and the boys. Is that the life that these men that push these ideas want us to go back to? To be slaves to men instead of being slaves to corporations? At least with being a slave with corporations, I have the right to choose. The right to choose my life and which way did I want it to go. Instead of my automatic thought being, I have to find a man so that I can get married and be a slave to him and cook and clean and have baby after baby and cause myself more harm than good. My grandma only had one child, and she tells me to my face, you lucky you got your daddy. She saw what her mom went through, and she was determined not to go through that herself. Both of them told me, go to school, get your own money, make sure you never have to depend on a man, because these men are fickle, and they change like the wind, and you will be stuck holding the bag. These videos of these men pushing these ancient ideologies are harmful. Not only harmful for men, but harmful for women. But my ladies, I'm telling you, be wary of these men. Please go to school. Get your education. Start a business. Go into tech. Go into STEM. Get your CDL. I don't care what you do, but do not depend on a man. Do not, and above all, do not have any kids. Do not have any kids unless you are prepared to be a single mother, because that's what you will be. You may be married, but you still will be a single mother. Most of the responsibilities for that child will fall upon you. Why these men, oh, well, I go to work. But in this society, we do too. I don't know many women that are stay-at-home moms that don't have a job of some kind. Even the stay-at-home moms work online. They sell trinkets. They do things. They're not just at home living off of the man. We live in a two-income society. So these men pushing this ideology, y'all can't pay all the bills like old Earl could. Even old Earl couldn't pay all the bills. Those people were living in poverty. Those people were not happy. Those women were not happy. And you cannot convince me of that they were. I've had firsthand experience. I've talked to these women. I know. And again, my grandma and my great grandma told me, go to school. Get your education. Have your own money. Do not depend on these men. And then here we are got with men like this that says we should be ashamed that we went to school, got our education, and not focused on marriage and a husband. Don't do it, ladies. And y'all men, do better. Y'all shouldn't be pushing this ideology, especially when you can't pay all the bills. Especially when y'all have a track record of not being faithful. Especially when y'all have a track record of abandoning your family. 70% of black households are ran by women. Y'all, I'm so sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but the odds aren't in your favor. The odds are not in a woman's favor to depend on men. You shouldn't depend on one income only. Like he's talking about when COVID happened. Yes, a lot of us saw how our companies really felt about us, but not only women, the men too. So do not sit there and make it seem like only women lost their jobs, because the men did too. And some of in the cases, like I work in healthcare, we were the only ones that were working. We were the only income that brought in, and the men sat at home and couldn't even wash the dishes or vacuum the floor. Are those the men that you want us to depend on? I think not.